The rain had been hammering the windows for hours when I started my Tuesday closing shift at the little corner pharmacy where I'd worked for almost a year. The manager had one rule, she said, the day she hired me. If someone scary comes in near closing, don't try to be brave. Lock yourself in the back and call the police. So when the door swung open at 11:50 at night and 4 big guys in matching black vests walked in, my heart slammed into my chest. These weren't normal customers. The red snake patches sewn on their vests were the mark of the blood vipers, the biker crew the whole town was scared of. Moms pulled their kids inside when they rumbled past. There'd been brawls, smashed windows, even a guy beaten half to death behind the bar across the street. Their faces showed up on the news all the time. The tallest one dropped a wad of wrinkled cash on my counter. Carton of the cheap ones, he mumbled, looking at the floor. The second one was already walking the medicine aisle scooping up cough drops and bottled water like he lived there. The other two leaned by the door watching me like they were trying to figure out if I'd be a problem. My fingers trembled as I rang him up. I kept staring at the silent alarm by my knee, wondering if I should press it now or wait. That's when the door opened again, and everything changed. A tiny old woman shuffled in, soaked through from the storm that had been dumping rain all night. Her coat was ripped, one slipper wrapped in a plastic bag, and she looked like she hadn't eaten in a week. She was shaking so hard I could hear her breath catching from behind the register. I figured the bikers would snicker, maybe tell her to move along. Instead, the tall one turned and snapped at his friends. Grab a chair from the back. Sit her down by the heater. I thought it was a trick, like they wanted her out of sight so they could do something cruel. But then the second guy pulled a fleece blanket off the seasonal shelf, walked it to my counter, and dropped a 20 next to it. Ring that up with our stuff. The one who'd been pacing tore open a granola bar and a juice, setting them softly in front of the old woman who had sunk into the chair. When did you last eat, ma'am? He asked, and his voice was nothing like the rough mumble from before. The fourth guy, the biggest one who'd been eyeing me, stepped behind my counter. I almost screamed, sure he was diving for the cash drawer. Instead, he flicked on the little kettle we keep back there, dropped in a tea bag, and stirred in 3 sugars. Drink this slow, he said, holding the warm cup out to her. For the next 20 minutes, I stood there frozen, watching 4 men who had terrified this whole town treat this old woman like she was their own grandma. They asked her name, where she'd been sleeping, if anything hurt. One of them stepped outside under the awning and made a quiet phone call about a warm bed for the night. When they finally paid, the tall one slid me a 50 for maybe $12 of stuff. Keep it for the hassle, hun. Thanks for not freaking out. On their way out, the quiet one turned around. If she comes back and we're gone, you've got my number now. Just ring it. I stood there a long while after the door shut, trying to make sense of what I'd seen. The next night, one of them came back by himself, not to buy anything, just to ask if the old woman had come around again. We got her into the women's shelter on Oak Street, he said, pushing another 20 across the counter. They'll feed her and keep her warm proper. Then he stopped at the door and looked back at me. Everybody thinks we're animals, but this is our town, and we take care of all of it. Her too. And he was gone before I could get a word out.